So, today we're going to talk about players that you didn't know about that represented the clubs you were unaware of or totally forgot about. Our list can actually contain players just from Bolton Wanderers in the mid-2000s. That was a crazy time, eh? Or how about a brief period where everyone was moving to Russia and then China? If you guys have more such examples, then do let us know below, and also share the video with your friends to see their reactions to some of these surprising spells of players. Without further ado, let's get cracking, shall we? Let's start with the big fish. So Eto'o was on Real Madrid's books before he became the legendary superstar at Barcelona. But did you know the circumstances under which he was let go from the club? Spoiler alert, it wasn't controversial, but on technicality. Eto'o had joined Real Madrid in 1997 as a minor. That meant he was asked to train with their B team, Real Madrid B. He represented Madrid's youth side in the Spanish Segunda Division, second division. But Madrid were relegated to the third tier. According to the Spanish Federation rules, non-EU players cannot participate in the Spanish third division. That meant Eto'o and Madrid had no other choice than to part ways. The talent was clear to see in the boy, but he wasn't gonna get any opportunity at Real Madrid. So Real loaned him out to Leganes, then Espanyol, and then Real Zaragoza, and then eventually sold him to them. Eto'o had a breakthrough spell at Zaragoza, joined Barcelona later, and the rest is history. Talking about big fishes, the legendary Frenchman was once on the books of the Turkish giants Galatasaray. Crazy, huh? After contract negotiations broke down with his former club Metz, Ribéry moved to Turkey. Boy, was it a roller coaster of a move for the Frenchman. Ribéry was immediately taken in as a fan favorite at Galatasaray. Him zipping down the wings with the ball at his feet was a sight to behold for the Galatasaray fans. They fondly nicknamed him Ferrari-Berry. The move had to succeed, considering he was brought to the club on recommendation of then-manager and a legendary player himself, Jorge Hagi. But Ribéry was out of Turkey within a season. Ribéry stated he didn't receive his wages at the club at regular intervals, and at one moment of time, he was threatened with a baseball bat by his former agent and Galatasaray's director of football. Still, though, considering the career Ribéry had, this was one weird transfer move that benefited no one in the end. Next up is the player who is making all the splashes in the football world lately, and the two clubs who are doing the same thing in the last couple of months. Carvajal has had an interesting career, and an even more interesting beginning to his successful career. Carvajal did begin his career with Real Madrid's youth team. He even captained the Real Madrid B team to a promotion back to the Segunda Division after a 5-year hiatus from the second division. His quality didn't go unnoticed, and because Madrid were stacked at the time, Carvajal was snapped up by Bayer Leverkusen. Carvajal made his mark straight away. He was voted as one of the 3 best right-backs in the Bundesliga in his debut season. It was also his only season at the club. Madrid are Madrid after all, and seeing his potential, Madrid put in 3 separate buyback clauses for 3 different years for the Spanish star, and brought him back after just 1 season. We told you about Bolton in the beginning, didn't we? Before his trophy-laden and a successful spell at Chelsea, he had a brief but successful spell at Bolton Wanderers. Unable to break through in a Real Madrid side brimmed with world-class talents in every position, Alonso moved to Bolton in 2010. He became a fan favorite instantly. His driving and marauding runs from deep excited the Bolton fans to no end. It became Alonso's trademark later in his career. Marcos Alonso's attacking game yielded 5 goal returns in just 35 league appearances for Bolton, and even earned him Bolton's Player of the Season in the conclusion of the 2012-13 season. After 3 fruitful years, Alonso transferred to Fiorentina. Yup, the Brazilian maestro once played for his former club Barcelona's rivals, Espanyol. A spell which showcased how good the little magician can be in a right environment. Having joined Inter Milan from Vasco da Gama at just 18 years of age, Coutinho struggled to break into an Inter side that had recently won a treble under Jose Mourinho. With Coutinho in need to gain experience, he was loaned out to the Spanish side Espanyol. He was a massive hit with the Catalan side. He scored 5 goals in just 16 appearances. Can't imagine a better 6-month loan spell for a player. His blistering spell immediately garnered attention from the clubs in Europe, and despite a concrete interest from Southampton at the time, Coutinho returned to Inter and then moved to Liverpool. The pass master, Mesut Ozil, ignited his career at the German club Werder Bremen before his Hollywood moves to Real Madrid and Arsenal. The German started his career at Schalke 04 before moving to Werder Bremen. This is where his career really took off. Özil twice hit double figures in the assist section at Werder Bremen, and even scoring the winning goal in the DFB Pokal final against Bayer Leverkusen. Özil was even named as the best player in the Bundesliga for the first leg in the 2009-10 season. His dynamism on the ball attracted the top clubs from Europe, and especially the two Spanish giants, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Real Madrid eventually won the race and signed the Mercurial German. But all of that wouldn't have been possible without his spell at Werder Bremen. We always relate Zizou with Real Madrid and Juventus, but before all that there was a club in France, Bordeaux, that elated Zizou into the limelight. Zidane began his career at AS Cannes before Bordeaux spotted the mercurial superstar quality in Zidane before anyone else signed him. The great thing about Zidane at Bordeaux was that it gave the France national team their main core. The Bordeaux trio of Zidane, Dugarry, and Lizarazu were all a prominent part of the French team in their heydays. Zidane himself announced his arrival at the big stage at Bordeaux, winning the Intertoto Cup, and the very next year finished runners-up in the UEFA Cup. Zidane flourished at Bordeaux, but the funny stories of Newcastle United rejecting the idea of signing Zidane because he was not good enough, or the Blackburn owner thinking Tim Sherwood was better than Zidane still makes us chuckle. To think the English football demographic would have been so different had Zidane moved to English is a real slobber knocker. Anyway, Zidane did carve out a decent career on and off the field in the end. We still don't know how Bolton pulled these deals off, to be honest. Granted, all the players mentioned above had passed their peak, but we are talking about bona fide superstars of the past generation playing for a mid-table English side. It's easy to forget these greats of the game finished their careers with Bolton because you don't associate these legends with Bolton throughout their careers until the very end. Bolton never won anything with these greats, but they did manage to make it to a League Cup final with Okocha and Djorkaeff. It was a great marketing ploy on Bolton's behalf to bring these greats to the club. There was still a bit of quality left in these greats when they made their way to Bolton, especially Okocha. Okocha raised the entertainment quotient of the Premier League to a different level with his explosive personality on the field. Bolton in mid-2000s was a vibe and one that made the Premier League even more entertaining. Adebayor is a crazy figure in football. We know him from his spells at Arsenal, then antagonizing the Arsenal fanbase after he joined Manchester City and celebrating wildly by scoring against them, and then getting out of favor at City before a short spell at Real Madrid. That Real Madrid move did come as a surprise. He came out of favor at City and everyone expected him to move somewhere else for game time. But little did we know he was going to end up at Real Madrid. Madrid themselves were a little bit short in the attacking department, so that move did make sense. But the move was so short that it is barely worth remembering. He did score a hat-trick for Real and won the Copa del Rey in his 6-month spell, and also got himself dissed by Madrid fans for a couple of stinking performances. But that is why the move is still remembered. The guy was pure box office wherever he went. Real Madrid sure are a lot on our list, but that's the whole point of the list too. Madrid has such a high threshold for players that not everyone can make their mark here. Fabinho is in the same boat. Another blink and you miss a career at Real Madrid. Fabinho joined Real Madrid from Getafe on a loan deal. The idea was to acclimatize the Brazilian with the first Real Madrid B team before making the grade into the main team. Fabinho's impressive spell with the B team saw him get an opportunity with the first team squad. As said earlier, it was a blink and a miss appearance. He appeared just once for the first team before he went back to Getafe and then went on loan to Monaco, where he eventually made his name. Considering what he achieved with Liverpool, winning all the available trophies, it would have been wise for Real Madrid to hang on to him or at least given him proper opportunities. But it didn't matter in the end because Fabinho carved out a successful career and Real Madrid went on to dominate Europe. Sometimes it isn't meant to be. Well folks, there you have it. We have listed out players you didn't know played for the clubs. We are sure there are many more such examples. And we have to give shoutouts to Van Nistelrooy's time in Real Madrid, Antonio Rudiger's spell at AS Roma, Bruno Fernandes at Udinese, and Giorgio Chiellini's time at Fiorentina as honorable mentions.